Well, good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you all here for Sunday school. I know you're not used to seeing my face for your Sunday school lessons. We're going to start a new series this month. It's going to be kind of called History of Hymns. We're going to take some time each week and look at a hymn. I'm going to do my best to try to make the hymns match what Pastor Clark is going to be preaching on for that particular Sunday. And we'll go into a little bit about the composers of the hymns, and if there's any information about what inspired them to write the hymn, we'll talk about those things, and then we'll sing the hymn as part of the time together. So let's get started with this month. There's a couple of things I want you to know about hymns. Hymns kind of work differently from songs, although they similar ideas. When we look at a hymn in the hymnal, usually you're going to see a couple of different names. You're going to see a name for the words, and you're going to see a name for the music. And these two were usually not written together before the 1900s. Usually the same person didn't write both. Someone would write a poem, and that would typically be a hymn. And they would publish that in a book of hymns or poems, or someone would take that and then publish it in a book. Hymnals in the old days, they didn't have music written in them. They would have they would just have the lyrics, and you would set it to music as you saw fit in the time of the service. So a lot of times the tunes and the words are interchangeable. So that's why when you look in a hymnal, you'll see a name for who wrote the words, and then you'll see a name for who wrote the music, and then you'll also see a name for the tune. Because the tunes were interchangeable depending on the meter of the poem. So today, our first hymn we're going to talk about is in our United Methodist hymnal. It's number 395. It's called Take Time to Be Holy. Now, I picked this hymn because our Pastor Clark is preaching on how to waste your time, which is a funny-sounding title, but I believe what the spirit of the sermon is making sure we make time in our life for God and for our own self and for our family, and to not let our lives be completely taken up by the busyness of life. So let's talk about this hymn, Take Time to Be Holy. As I mentioned, the lyrics were written by one person and the tune was written by another. The lyrics for this hymn were written by a gentleman from England by the name of William Dunn Longstaff. And Mr. Longstaff lived from 1822 to 1894. He was the son of a wealthy ship owner. So he was, he had a comfortable life. And so he took advantage of not having to work hard to develop his faith and develop his knowledge. And because he was a man of means, he was very philanthropic with his monies, especially toward different aspects of the church. He became very influential in evangelical circles in England. One of the things that, when getting involved with evangelists, he became friends with some people like William Booth, who was the founder of the Salvation Army, and also Dwight Moody and Ira Sankey. Dwight Moody and Ira Sankey were a couple of American evangelists who traveled to England to do a series of revivals. And so it was when these two gentlemen went to England that this hymn was introduced to them. Now we know that Longstaff showed his hymn to Dwight Moody, and then Dwight Moody shared the hymn with his chief musician, Ira Sankey. Ira took the hymn. He did not sing it himself. He passed it on to another songwriter named George Stebbins. Now, George Stebbins, he kind of set it aside and didn't really think about it for a couple of years. He went on a mission trip to India. And when he was in India, he wrote a tune called Holiness. And then he went back through his notes and found this hymn that had been written by Longstaff and set this tune to the words. So there are 4 stanzas in the hymn. Every stanza begins with "Take time to be holy." And the inspiration for this line was from Longstaff had been to a meeting where he heard a missionary to China named Griffith John. He was speaking at a meeting in the early 1880s, and he cited 1 Peter 1:16, "Be ye holy, for I am holy." This is a reference to Leviticus 11:44. So this became kind of the inspiration for this hymn, "Take time to be holy." The first stanza, "Take time to be holy, speak oft with thy Lord." And it also talks about protecting those who are weak and caring for God's children. These are the commandments in Matthew 22:36-40, to love God and neighbor. The second stanza talks about take time to be holy. The world rushes on through time with Jesus. Like him we shall be. The third stanza asks for Jesus to be our guide that we can follow and trust. And the last stanza suggests that we take time to be holy and calm our souls. This is a beautiful hymn. I think it really fits the message that we're going to have this week with the learning how to waste our time and learning how to live a life beautifully wasted. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this series progresses. So now we will sing the hymn, "Take Time to Be Holy." You will see the lyrics on the bottom of the screen in the video, and I've asked Job to help me out. Of course, we recorded these separately from this lesson. So you'll see I'm going to change my room. I'm going to move from my living room to the sanctuary, and Job and I will Take Time to Be Holy to lead this first lesson. It's been great to see you, and I'll see you next week as we continue our history of hymns.
Okay. Take time to be holy, speak oft with thy Lord, abide in him always, and feed on his word. Make friends of God's children, help those who are weak, forgetting in nothing his blessing to seek. Take time to be holy, the world rushes on. Spend too much time in secret with Jesus alone. By looking to Jesus, like him thou shalt be. Thy friends in thy conduct his likeness shall see. Take time to be holy, let him be thy guide, and run not before him, whatever betide. In joy or in sorrow, still follow the Lord, and looking to Jesus, still trust in his word. Take time to be holy, be calm in thy soul. each thought and each motive beneath his control. Thus, led by his Spirit to fountains of love, thou soon shalt be fitted for service above.